Assassin's Creed Origin is an interesting game because upon first playing it, I absolutely hated it. So much, in fact, I bought it and I returned it like the very next day. The extreme difference in gameplay just wasn't working for me at the time, and I really had no interest in playing it. However, upon replaying it again in 2020, when COVID became a thing, I really came to enjoy this title for the most part. This game stars Bayek. Really, it's just about a guy who lost a lot and just keeps losing, and you're thrown into this world that is cold despite being on the hottest place in Earth, and you lose so much so fast, and you learn about the death of all these close ones to him, and him trying to reconnect with the woman that he loves, but through circumstances of what happened, it's depressing sometimes. The story is actually, though, one of the strongest parts of the game. It gives a real grit and revenge plot that you can certainly get behind, especially if you're a parent, but even if you're not, you definitely can get behind this one. Now, the huge change to the game is the RPG elements, making the combat feel a lot more RPG, giving off the amount of damage you do per hit, building your character's hit points and health points and all that stuff. The armor is far more in detail now, giving you stats that help boost things. It definitely feels more like Assassin's Creed went basically RPG Assassin Warrior. This game doesn't work for everyone, and it didn't work for me at first, but once I adapted to the new system, I began to really like it. The world itself is huge, with a lot of places to visit, and this is probably the most Assassin's Creed thing there is, the big open worlds to explore, and the environments are always different in every game, which makes it a lot of fun. So if you don't like an environment, the next game you might love it. And as much as I thought the visuals here were great, it's Egypt, and I'm just not that interested in it. I'm gonna be honest. It was just like the weaker point to me, because this time period is probably one of the least interesting for me. It's simply, I didn't have fun going or traveling through Egypt like other areas in the series prior, and while it was pretty, definitely pretty at times, it was probably the least interesting part for me is exploring this world.
I've missed your touch.
I have missed touching you. I killed as well. Actaeon. I hunted him down and discovered a mask in his room. When he returned, I forced him to wear it.
I also didn't care for most of the side quests. This is a huge change for Assassin's Creed because you actually need side quests now to become stronger to survive the dangerous enemies in the game. It's not often the game makes you feel a bit too weak, but at times you really do have to grind a little to finish the side mission to even tackle the next area or the main mission. These side missions, unlike the main mission, tend to be kind of boring at times. The game's main core play, though, is pretty fun. The idea of traveling around in new areas in an RPG open world style Assassin's Creed game works most of the time. Replaying it, I really enjoyed the vast amount of time that I did with it. I felt like the two weakest parts for me, though, personally, was the lack of interesting area, which is a huge one for me because Assassin's Creed you travel a lot, and the side missions being pretty boring, especially in comparison to the main mission or main story structure missions. But I did beat the game, and I did have a pretty good time doing it. I had a pretty solid time, I'd say. Definitely a good time, though not great, though there were great moments. So I'm going to end this one with a 7.5 and what I call the first of the new Assassin's Creed trilogy, which is Origins, Odyssey, and Viking. Apparently this is like the trilogy of this series, and the next one's going to be totally different. I guess we'll see. But with that, I'm going to follow up, I think, with Odyssey and Viking. Both games I didn't really get to review through my break of reviewing games coming next. But Origins is a solid 7.5. It's not the greatest Assassin's Creed, in my opinion, but it's still a lot of fun. You just have to kind of adapt to the new gameplay style. So what did you guys think? Did you enjoy Origins, or was it just not working for you? Let me know below.
May the Hidden One walk beside you. The Lord of the Duat awaits.